Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yejia, and today I am going to attempt to design and crochet a cardigan in like 1 to 2-ish days. Essentially, I am currently on a self-prescribed yarn diet. All that really means is that I am not trying to purchase any new yarns. I'm trying to go through my already existing yarn collection that's already quite extensive. This is my yarn collection that I've been accumulating over the last few years, ever since I started knitting back in 2020. So much yarn. As for why I'm giving myself only 1 to 2 days to get this done is because I feel like sometimes I get really lost in the details. I am a very detail-oriented person, and because of that, I just tend to fixate on a lot of details that like literally nobody else cares about, and sometimes I can get really in the way of just completing projects. So I feel like sometimes it's a good thing to kind of give myself these parameters in which I should work under, etc, etc. I'm also trying to like avoid the sunlight because like I want to talk about actually one of my favorite things I've done in Chicago. I love the architecture in Chicago. I find it incredibly inspirational. I love going to like the Chicago Cultural Center. Oh my gosh, it's so stunning, so beautiful. Essentially, Open House Chicago is hosted by Chicago Architectural Center every October, in which they provide access to the public to places of cultural and like historical and architectural significance all across Chicago, all across the various neighborhoods. If you're ever here when open house is going on, I highly recommend you going and visiting. But this year, one of my favorite things that I've done is gone to the Waste Shed. The Waste Shed is a nonprofit that operates creative reuse centers in Chicago and Evanston. They collect reusable art and school materials that would otherwise be thrown away, and then they make them available to teachers, artists, anyone who needs them at low or no cost. I think it's so wonderful. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to donate some of my yarns. But anyways, I adored their button section. I literally spent so long just going through all the little buttons because I'm on a yarn diet, so I can't buy any new yarn, but buttons are not yarn. And I got this like little baggie of buttons from the Waste Shed, and I got this guy. I just really liked this green stone in the middle here. And I got like an entire set of these so adorable quilted heart buttons. I got like an entire set of these. I think I have like 7 of these. But for this cardigan in particular, I've like known that for this cardigan design, I wanted to just have one button that kind of just keeps it closed right here, just like a really big centerpiece button. And look at this button. I love her. So far, I'm going to be using this yarn, which is like a baby sock yarn. Honestly, I ripped the labels off these a very long time ago. And I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook. And I'm going to use a knit lookalike ribbed stitch to create the cardigan. I've actually like already sampled and blocked and tested the yarn and the stitches that I'm going to use for this design. But as you can see, I've unraveled again and again and again and again and again.
Oh Lord, again.
So this is why I'm giving myself the time constraint. I need to like force myself to finish this. Am I procrastinating right now by recording? Yeah. I have completed 1 row. I wore this sweater very purposefully because I really enjoyed the neckline on this sweater, this sort of raglan style. So I'm mimicking the neckline off of this sweater. I've had this sweater since I was probably 14 or 15. I remember buying it with like one of my first actual paychecks. But I've had this sweater for over a decade now. It was from American Eagle, Aerie, something like that. Anyways, this is the general neckline. So we're gonna go like several rows straight and then create this decrease line and then create the sleeve, create the back, create the other sleeve, create the other front. Okay, so cardigan update. I have created about 15 rows of 50 yarn over slip stitch through the third loop only. Quite a mouthful to say, but I have created this little front bit. I'm basically following the neckline on this sweater right now. And now I'm gonna start shaping out the shoulder seam right here by creating decreases at the neckline right here. Look at how adorable Teddy is. He's like, Mom, I'm shy. Get that camera out of my face. I messed up stitch count.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Also, okay, maybe it's a good thing though, because I think the beginning of the panel, before I start making any decreases, needs to be an even number of rows, so that when I start decreasing, I want to do 20 decreases so that that shapes out the shoulder seam. So if you've been following along with what I'm saying, or like my directions on this pattern, I originally did 15 rows of 55 stitches. I may have misspoken earlier and said 50, but it's 55. But I'm gonna do 16 rows of 55 stitches for this like front part, and then I'm gonna make 20 rows of decreases, so I'm decreasing 20 stitch counts to go from my original stitch count of 55 to 35. It truly would not be a project of mine if I didn't unravel it at least once. And now I'm gonna start creating decreases at the neckline portion down. 20 rows, 20 decreases, let's go. I wanna show you like what I'm doing measuring and shaping wise. So I've made sure that the panel is like center right on my chest. Another thing to take into consideration is that I'm wearing a really bulky sweater right now, so I actually will make sure to like try it on in front of a mirror without the bulky sweater. But I am generally trying to follow this neckline, but this is generally how I follow a neckline on a sweater or a cardigan that I really like, or I really like the neckline or the fit of, etc, etc, and this is kind of what helps me when I'm designing. Also, I did 22 rows of decreases, but now I'm gonna work up the edge right here and then start creating the sleeve panel off of it. So I have 16 rows of 55 stitches, and then I decreased down to 31 stitches right here. Every single row I decreased. So I think I ended up doing 24 rows in total. So I'm going to create 24 stitches along this edge right here in order to start out my sleeve panel. So I started the sleeve panel. So essentially I did 24 shoulder seam stitches, and then I worked all those 24 stitches back down, and then I started creating a foundation half double crochet chain off of that in order to start the sleeve panel. And then now I'm just working back up, but every single time I am working at this edge right here, I am increasing the stitch count by 1. So yeah, that is what I'm going to continue doing until I get to the very top here, and then I'm going to try it on to see how many rows I'm going to need in between before I start decreasing to shape the back shoulder seam. I finished the sleeve panel, and then I don't know why I never tried to try it on as I was making it, and it turns out that the sleeve panel was like far too short, and so I had to unravel the whole thing and start it all over again. Fine, it's like literally fine. It's fine, it's so fine. If you don't at least have one mental breakdown in the middle of crocheting a sweater, did you really crochet a sweater? So essentially I'm back at this. We're making a sleeve. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Despite the fact that like yesterday, basically the only thing I really accomplished was finishing the front panel and figuring out the measurement for the sleeve. Theoretically, it should be a lot faster today, because then I don't have to really worry about like the numbers and all and like the measurements. I can just shut my brain off and crochet, which is my favorite part. I love the like figuring out the measurements behind a pattern and all of that, but I also really hate it. It's like incredibly satisfying when you do figure it out, but it does require going through quite a bit of trial and error, which can be really kind of a nightmare. So hopefully this will all work out, and by the end of the video, you and I will both be pleasantly surprised. Everybody will be like, pattern, pattern, pattern. And I'll be like, oh my God, I did it. Yay, go me. I think I created 85 foundation half double crochet chains for the sleeve panel. And I think that that's good measurement. And then I'm making increases at every point that I'm connecting the sleeve panel to the shoulder seam right here. Before and after I join the sleeve panel to the shoulder seam right here. I'm gonna keep finishing up this sleeve panel and hopefully it will fit. Look at that. Oh, it's a nice length too. Yes, she's looking so good. And now I'm just gonna make a few rows. I increased from 85 stitches on this side of the sleeve panel to 109 total, I think. I basically made increases every single row. Every single time I slip stitched my sleeve panel to the edge right here, and I used 2 slip stitches every single time I slip stitched. And now I'm just gonna make several rows in between to kind of go across here, and then I can start making decreases for the back. It's so long. Yeah, I think I'm liking how it's looking so far. It definitely needs to get washed and blocked once it's done, but I think it's looking good so far. Hello. Truthfully, I did not work on this project a lot yesterday. So we've got like the front panel done here, and then making progress on the sleeve panel. But I just didn't really work on it yesterday a whole ton. But yeah. Hopefully I'll make some more progress on it today. Hopefully by the end of the day we'll start to see this like really take shape. It looks kind of weird, but first sleeve done. And now I'm gonna start making the back panel. Yay! So as I'm making this cardigan, I'm so scared of losing yarn chicken, and I think I might. I really do. At least I don't think I have enough yarn to make like the sailor collar that I really want. And so I'm kind of like, oh no, do I have to break my yarn diet? Does it count as breaking your yarn diet if I'm just buying more yarn to complete this project? Does it count? Tell me it doesn't count. And I feel like the stars are aligned on this one a little bit, because I did a quick Google search and I was actually able to find the yarn that I used for this project. I don't know if it's the same dye lot, and I think that that's like the really like the one thing that's kind of stopping me from just purchasing like a couple more skeins and calling it a day. Maybe I'll try to go through all this yarn today, and then if I get through all the yarn, I'll just buy a couple more skeins to be able to finish this. And maybe if the collar detail is in a slightly different green shade, it won't be like that bad. I hope that the dye lot isn't like too different. I think I just need to continue making, continue crocheting, continue working, and then at the end of the day, I'll check in again. She's coming along. Ta-da! Okay, so right now I've got the left front panel, the sleeve, and then the back panel is starting to take shape, and I think I might have to buy the yarn. Okay, this is the progress that I've made so far. It is basically the end of my day, so probably not going to make a whole ton of progress beyond this, but I did end up buying a couple more skeins of this yarn so that I'll be able to finish it and make the sort of dramatic sailor's collar that I want to with it. I figure getting a couple more skeins is okay, because then I will finish the cardigan and actually wear it and not have the yarn like sitting collecting dust, and it'll be better to be worn and loved and cherished. Also, I might need to redo it and make the sleeves a little bit longer, but I can't do that until I have more yarn, so there you go. This is how much yarn I have left. I only just barely started the second sleeve, so that's all I have in terms of of progress. I like the design so far, but I definitely don't have enough yarn to complete even just like the base of the cardigan, let alone the dramatic sailor collar that I want to incorporate and I was envisioning with this design. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day. Special thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you would like to support me over there, I would really appreciate it. You get access to my supply list, to behind the scenes updates, etc, etc. But yeah, I will keep you updated on this project and hopefully it will be done and I will wear it and it will be very cute and I will be happy. Oh, actually, let me show you what the final result looks like right now. Okay, so this is the front panel, this is the left sleeve, and then this is the back panel, but that's the back panel. And then as you can see, I kind of barely started that second sleeve right here. But yeah, I like the design so far. I just definitely don't have enough yarn. So until next time, see you later. Bye.